Welcome back to my React crash course, lesson number 7, and in today's video I'm going to be going over conditional rendering, use effect, and event listeners more in depth. So we're going to create a search bar and you can actually search for a video. So if we wanted the fourth video, we could just write 4, and then the fourth video is going to show up. So make sure you watch this whole video to not miss anything out. And before we get started, make sure that you like, subscribe so you don't miss upcoming React videos. But now, let's get started. First thing that we need to do is add an input. So let's go to our video list. I'm going to cut this out. Let's create a new div. And then above the video list, we're going to create an input. So I'm going to go above it. Let's write input. And then let's set the class name to equal to search. Placeholder. Let's also do search. And then in the index.css, I've already added classes for the input. So we can see that that's what it looks like. And then when we fully open it, then it's going to be in the center. And if you want these styles, then you can go down the details and then find the GitHub repository to this course and then find the code for this project. But now let's go back here and let's add a new state so that we'll be able to compare the use state to the video titles. And then we're going to be able to make this functional. So let's go ahead and write const. I'm going to name it search and then let's write set search. That's going to be equal to UseState, and this is going to be blank for now because we have no text in here. And so in the input, what we're going to have to do is we're going to have to add an onChange, and let's actually make a separate function just for now. So handle change. Here we're going to pass in the event, and here we're going to set search to equal to e.target.value. And onChange is going to be equal to the name of that function. And then we also have to set the value to equal to search. So now if we search something here, obviously nothing's going to happen. So let's actually console log search to see if it actually works. So let's go to our console. We can see that we get a few errors, which we're going to fix in a second. So if I write something, we can see that we're going to get the value from our input. Now for these errors, we can see that we need to add a key prop to our code, and it's going to be in our return here. So where it says video.map, here we're going to have to add a key to every single video. So let's go ahead and do that. We're getting a video, and every single video, so if we go to data, we can see that it doesn't have an ID, but we can use the views as an ID. So let's just write video.views, and we can see that the error disappears. And there's multiple ways in which we can do this, but I think the easiest way would be to go to our map method here, and then in our return here, we're going to set something similar to an if statement, which is going to say if search equals to something and the title of the video includes any text from the search, then we're going to return the video element. And I'm going to actually show you an example of what that would look like in a second. So let's actually move this whole function, and I'm just going to write it in here. So we have to get the event from our input here so that we can set search to equal to e.target.value. And then what I was going to show you is let's actually just set a variable. So I'm going to do let example equal to false. And then in here, when we return it, I'm going to say example equal to false, then we're gonna return the video. So right now we can see that we have all of the videos, but then if I set this to true, we can see that we're gonna have no videos because we set that if example equal to false, then we're gonna return the videos. Now what we could do is we could write or, which basically means that if example equals to false, then we're gonna return the videos. So now if we save, we can see that now the videos appear again. But then if I set this to false, we can see that they disappear. So there's multiple ways in which you can do this, and we can make this a bit longer. So we can do something like if example equals to false, and then also we can use search, and let's say search. I'm going to actually set this to equal to nothing, and if search, then we're going to return all of that. So we can see that we have nothing, but then if we set search to equal to something, so I'm just going to say ASD, then we can see that we're going to get all of the videos. So this is just the very basics. And so before we actually move on, I'm going to teach you a method which we're going to use, and it's called includes. So let's console log this includes method. So we're going to use the video.title here. So video.title. This method is called includes. So we're going to write includes. We have to write some text, which is going to be search. And so we're using the text from the video. And this method checks if the text in the brackets has anything similar with the text from the video's title. So let's go in here, and we're going to get false because we have nothing in our state. And if you do have anything like this, then you should get true. So you can remove that, and we're going to get false. But then let's just say that I write something like 1, then we can see that we're going to get 1 true and 3 false because we only have one video that contains 1 in its title. Now let's just say I write something like video, we should get false because right now it's checking for uppercase 2. So if I change the V to uppercase, then we can see that now it's going to be 4 trues because every single video has the word video in it. So to fix the uppercase thing, what we could do is go to our video.title and we could write to lowercase and then add the round brackets, and now it should work even if I write video, and we can see that we get true. What we also have to do is, in case the person writes video like this, we can see that we get false, so we also have to do the same thing here. So search dot to lowercase, and now even if I write video with everything uppercase, we're gonna get true. So we have all of that fixed, and now we can actually use this. But before we do that, we're gonna have to write in a statement. So if search exists, then we're gonna have to return it a special way, else we're gonna return it normally. So let's go ahead and do that. And if search exists, then we're gonna have to write this whole thing inside of it, and we're gonna have to add the symbol to say and. So if this is true, then we're gonna return this video. And now we can see that everything works the exact same way. But then if I write something like, let's say 1, then we're gonna get only this one video because it contains 1, and then all of the other ones don't contain it. And we can see that if I remove everything, then it's gonna go to this return, which is just gonna return all the videos. But then when search actually equals to something, so let's say 3, then it's gonna check here, and then it's only gonna return the videos that contain the text that we have in our search, and then it's gonna show it. And I'm gonna show you just one more thing. So I'm gonna make another input in here, and then let's just say that this one would be for channel name, just as an example. So I'm gonna change this to that. And so one thing they could do is obviously make another UseState, but a better thing to do is make one UseState with 2 variables, which means that that UseState is going to be an object. And yes, you can set UseState variables to be objects, so this is how you do it. I'm gonna just name it inputs, and then let's write set inputs, but usually would have an actual name for the variable because that's not the best name. But in here we would have the name of each input. So we have a search input, which is actually gonna be equal to this, and we also have a, I'm just gonna name it channel input, which is also gonna be equal to nothing. I'm gonna go to the class name, and this should be search because I want it to look good, and then placeholder should be channel name, but since the value here is set to equal to search, then that's what it's going to say here. So let's set the values here to actually equal to the values from our inputs use state. So the value here is going to be inputs dot search, and then on change, what we're going to do is set inputs. And so since it's an object, we don't want to delete the other object. So what we have to do is we have to write 3 dots, and we're going to set this to inputs, and the only object that we're going to change in this case will be the search, and we're going to set that to e.target.value, and we can say we get an error because this has to be in an object. And let me go over this again real quick. So we're setting inputs, and since it's an object, we don't want to erase the other object. So what we have to do is we have to write .inputs, which is going to say inputs to equal to what it was, but then we're changing the search to equal to the e.target.value. And we're going to do the exact same thing here. So set inputs, put this in an object. So, and then we're going to write inputs, and we're going to change the channel variable, and we're going to set that to e.target.value, just like that. And then we actually have to use the inputs use effect right over here. So we're going to write inputs.search, and then same thing right here. So inputs.search, and we can see that it's going to work the exact same way. So if I write 1, it's only going to show the first video. And you can actually do that by yourself, which I'm not going to go over because I don't want the video to be too long. So hopefully you learned a lot in this video. And now you also know how you can say a use state variable to equal to an object, which is going to be pretty helpful in the future. And this is where I'm going to end this video. So hopefully you enjoyed it. And if you did, then make sure to leave a like, subscribe so that you don't miss upcoming React lessons and videos. Comment down below if you have any questions or any videos you want to see me make on React. And hopefully see you in the next video.